This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the Dragon's Lair, in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast, in association with Riverside Sports Bar. I'm Jamie, and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. How are we doing, Gav?
I'm all right, Jamie. I've refereed 7 games of under-11s rugby today, so my legs are a little jelly. Like, I probably ran more today than I do when I play. So,
did you play on the weekend at all?
No, week off. Week off from my retirement.
Yeah, your retirement in quotation marks. Oh dear. Okay, we have another special guest for you this week. One of our most requested guests by listeners, actually. So, he's a Carmarthen-born Dragon who made 130 appearances for the club over 8 years. His willingness to put his body on the line, even if the game had long been lost, made him a Dragons great and a fan favourite on the terraces. He was our ultimate warrior and we loved him for it. We are very pleased to welcome Nic Cudd onto the pod. Nic, how are we doing?
Yeah, great. Thanks, and thanks for having me.
No problem. Pleased to join us. Let's start from the beginning then. We ask all our guests to explain their rugby journey. So how and where did it all start for you?
I started with Pontiet's juniors, so I was when I was about under 8s. Played there then until say about under 15s, and then moved to Tumble Rugby Club. Played there, bit of youth rugby there, and then I could join the Scarlets Academy then when I was 16. Went from there, played Llanelli, my first sort of senior team for a few years, and then when I was about 20, I think I was 23 then, I left Scarlets and Llanelli and joined the Dragons, and stayed with the Dragons then until I think 2020, so from 2012 to 2020.
Yeah. So who were your role models growing up then, Nic? Were there any players that you looked up to when you was growing up and playing the game from a young age?
I think the usual was like sort of superhero in my time was like John Lumu, was like that type of guy. And like from a sort of positional, when I got a bit older then, positional guy I kind of looked up to, or I thought was really good at the time when I was kind of moving to like a flanker position, was George Smith. I remember I think it was a 2001 Lions tour, and I think he was probably at his best. He came on the scene like they were quite young, I think, at that point, and he was outstanding that tour, and I kind of just loved the way he played, sort of all action, and just had a big effect on games. That's what I found.
Yeah, he was a hell of a player, wasn't he, George Smith? Fair play. So you arrived at the Dragons back in 2012 from the Scarlets, and I think Darren Edwards was head coach at that time, was he? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Darren Edwards?
Yeah, and Rob Blood was the assistant, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So how did the opportunity to play for the Dragons come about then, Nic?
Well, that was I knew Rob Appleyard because he was back when I was sort of Scarlets Academy when I was younger. He was one of the coaches in that environment, and then a bit with Llanelli RFC, but then he'd moved to Dragons a couple of seasons before I'd gone. He tried to sort of kind of get me to go up maybe a couple of seasons before, but I was still sort of on the Scarlets, still going with them, and then. I remember it wasn't working out for me then at Scarlets, and then I think Dan Waters, he had a nasty injury, an ACL, in the summer of 2012, and Rob Appleyard phoned me up then, and asked if I wanted to come up sort of on a trial basis first of all. So I went up, and it went well, and didn't look back really. Kind of sort of went there for like the summer period. Dan Ed was the head coach. Rob Beale, I think, was the sort of director. I can't remember what was like a sort of rugby director or something like that. Yeah, and then they offered me a contract then in like the September time, I think. So yeah, and then I was there then for the next 8 years, really. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you played under many head coaches during your time at the Dragons. It has been a revolving door over the years, isn't it, of head coaches, let's be honest. Who did you get on with the most then, Nick? Any particular coaches you really enjoyed working under at the Dragons?
In their own way, I kind of got on with most of the ones. Like you said, I did go through quite a few in my time then. In that 8 years. Well, initially it was Dan Edwards was the head coach with Rob Appiard. Got on fine with them, well with them, and then Lynn came then in the next season with Kingsley, and they got on well with both. Like got on really well with Kingsley. Like I think they really helped sort of kind of bring out the best in me a bit, I'd say. Maybe because of the position they used to play, like they used to the same position, open side and things, and especially like kind of pushed me to improve in certain areas of my game which I needed to improve, and I think like I appreciated that, and it was never quite easy. Like with Lynn, he's quite extrinsic character, but he's very good. He's great. He's got a very good rugby brain on him, and he never made you feel comfortable, which was probably kind of a good thing, to be honest, from a player's point of view, because I think once you feel comfortable, you're probably not improving then. Do you mean? So that was the thing, and a lot of the things now. When I went on then as well, I kind of carried them forward, and I coach a bit now, and I always remember some of those things. Who came, and then I was trying to remember. Kingsley went head coach then for a couple of seasons after Lynn.
Yeah.
Then Bernard came in, then Bernard Jackman. I got on fine with Bernard. I think too. Like he was fine. Like he came in quite. The way of going about things, and possibly some of the play, didn't treat some players that great. Do you mean? But I got on okay with him. Do you mean, as far as I'm concerned? But he was a year and a half, I think, something like that, Bernard, and then I think was it, and Kerry took over for a bit. Then Kerry Jones. I got on well with Kerry. He's a great guy, really nice guy. So I think okay in his time. Do you mean for the standards, and then I think Dean Ryan came in. Then I think that was the one after that. So Dean brought a lot. Initially, I thought he was loads of good ideas. Had quite a good presence about him. But the unfortunate thing was, I kind of when he came in, I think it was my second knee up. Like did my knee the second time, my other knee. So I never played underneath him really, and then didn't get that sort of opportunity. And then by the time I came back, I think COVID had hit, and I was kind of towards the end of my. That was the end of my sort of innings, then really, as they say. So quite interesting time. Gone through good few head coaches, but in some ways it was good to sort of experience different head coaches and different methods and things, and sort of from a player's point of view, you've always got to sort of show what you can do in all the time, and really to those new head coaches, and try and do. You can't rest on any laurels in that sense. Then, do you mean you can't just become complacent? So you're always sort of trying to be the best you can be.
Under Kingsley, you were saying, like, clearly being a seven like yourself, he brought some new ideas to your playing style. What, how would you describe your playing style? Because I always thought of you as a bit of a throwback. You were like flankers from the earlier age, almost in my head. You were in there everything. You put your head everywhere, but you were really good at the breakdown as well. But what do you think were your strengths?
I think it kind of evolved into that as I was playing senior professional rugby. I found my sort of maybe the main strength then became my sort of defensive capabilities. And so in terms of just being a good defender, and also my ability, it came my ability to turn the ball over. Really, I think that became kind of maybe a sort of, how to put it, like a part of me that might have stuck out then, really, and made me sort of or more value possibly, like, to the team then, because it is quite a, and especially I think at the earlier seasons without Dragons, it was you'd have only so many players who were probably good at that sort of side of the game, who were those turnover sort of agents. While I think as the game went on in a few seasons later, there were a good few. There seemed to be, for quite a few of us, like the back rowers then were coming out, and they could do a lot. They were doing the turnovers, and they had other things they were adding to that side of their game as well. And I think that with Kingsley and Lynn, they knew I was good at that side of the game, the defensive, but they wanted to try and improve my attacking side, which I didn't show too much, but I did improve that side of my game under their coaching, I'd say.
Yeah, what always struck me in your game was that you, like you say, you were good at turning over the ball, but it's your ability to slow down quick ball for the opposition. So even if you didn't turn it over, if you were the first person to ruck, they weren't getting that ball away quickly.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, you're not always going to make those clean turnovers or get the penalty, but if you can, you turn the ball over and you sort of stifle the opposition's attack that bit by slowing that ball down, legally or without giving a penalty away. Anyway, I think that's a skill in itself a bit, I suppose. Trying to get do it without giving that penalty away. So you kind of, I think, that's why I tried to get good. That was like trying to get you gauge a referee as quickly in a game, and then you can, you're able to know how much you can kind of push it then throughout that game. How long I can kind of slow that ball down, or they're not allowing it, and they'll penalise you quickly. So hopefully I didn't. The odd game, obviously I didn't get it right with that ref, but and give probably too many penalties away. But more often than not, I wasn't too bad in that area.
No, you certainly wasn't. You were always very popular with Dragons supporters, and that was proven back in 2020 when Dragons opened an online ballot for supporters to vote for the Ultimate Dragons 15. In the open side position, you came out on top with 36% of the vote. You beat the likes of Colin Jarvis, Jason Forster, Richard Parks, Jamie Ringer, and Ollie Griffiths. What do you make of that? Because that's a pretty good endorsement, isn't it? That just shows how much you're valued by Dragon supporters.
Yeah, not sure I kind of managed to win that, to be honest.
Come on, don't put yourself down, Nick. Come on, you were brilliant for us.
Or something, I'm not sure, but no, it's great, isn't it? I wouldn't expect doing that with those caliber of players. I'm very grateful for that, and it's a nice thing to hear and to have, and nice that lots of supporters help me in that in that vein.
Yeah, absolutely, well deserved, I'd say. You came up against many quality players in your career. Who was the toughest opponent you ever faced, Nick?
I've been asked a few times. I find it hard to answer sometimes because I could come up against loads of tough opponents. I don't know if I'd say it's an opposite number 7 or someone I found really tough to kind of maybe play against, like a tough carry number 8 or something like that.
It could be any player. Is there any particular player give you a torrid time on the field? Anyone you really, was a handful?
I think it's a bit sort of random. There was a guy I remember playing against Bath. That was earlier on in my career at Dragons, and I just found it. I don't know, wasn't a bad tackler, but I just couldn't get I kept getting bounced off by this one. He was number 8. His surname was Houston, something like that. I think he was like an American Samoan type player. And he was quite a big lump, but he was quite a low centre of gravity, and he just bounced me off a couple of times. But yeah, someone like him, Hamish Watson, I found him a good, powerful player. He's not similar sort of probably size to me really, but powerful ball carrier, tough guy to tackle. In terms of like just guys, other open sides. In terms of similar to me, you got people like Justin Tipperick and Sam Walbert, and they're always like tough battles. Some of the Irish back rowers as well, like some good players there. It's those are the ones maybe that stand out a bit in that time period.
I think Hamish Watson's a good point of comparison. Very similar player to you. He always reminds me, similar kind of player to you. Ballsy, not as big as some other flankers, but just at everything at all the time. It was in Leroy Houston that you're thinking about the buff. Yeah, he was an Australian player. He's playing in France now.
Is he? Right, yeah. I just remember that game thinking, I played terribly. This guy's gone 3 times, and I was like, I wasn't used to that too much.
We all have off these things, so don't worry about it. What advice would you give to young players, particularly those who are playing in such a physically demanding position as open side flanker? Because you mentioned earlier you do a bit of coaching. So what kind of advice do you give the youngsters? Because it's a really tough, abrasive position, isn't it? Being a 7.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And it's not getting any easier probably either, is it?
No.
They got take as much sort of advice from some of the senior players as you can. I mean, hopefully there are senior players who are willing and to give that time and that advice to those players, and do a lot of things with it. So especially with number 7, there are cheat lines to learn, and the dark arts, like they say. But take everything on board, and in time, like you gain your own experience and improve from there. But
where are you coaching, Nick? Which club are you coaching at?
Coaching with Llandovery at the moment. I've been with them for sort of the last 2 seasons. I was doing sort of contact area coaching the contact area a bit, and then a bit more now. I'm doing more the defence now, really. So
And how are you finding Super Rugby Cymru?
It hasn't been the best start for Llandovery, by
No, I was going to say stop
nice
being a great
so like it's still early days in the season, so we'll come good again now. But it's to be honest with the Super Rugby Cymru, I haven't noticed too much difference yet. I don't feel as the season goes on we'll do, because it is a bit of a different format eventually than with playoffs and things than they were with the Welsh Premiership. But I suppose in terms of Llandovery, I'm not sure about all the teams, but even previous seasons, we'd always have a decent relationship, I think, with Scarlets and the players that would be allocated to us. So it's at this moment, I haven't noticed anything too different, but maybe as the season goes on and maybe that different format of the playoffs and how many teams go through into those playoffs, we'll find out more then as it goes on.
The same teams are strong, essentially, aren't they? And Newport is still strong, Ebervale is strong, Llandovery is strong, and Cardiff are looking strong. So it doesn't seem to be a huge change in fortunes for anyone.
Yeah, I think Newport were very strong last season, and they seem to have continued with that. They've got a good, strong squad, so I think they're probably going to be one of the teams to beat. And like you said, as well as Cardiff, they'll be up there, I'd have thought. Apart from that, Ebervale, obviously we lost now back to back to them, unfortunately, from our point of view, but they're a well-drilled team, to be fair. Ebervale, I think everybody will I think most teams will find it difficult against them. I mean,
Gav's happy now because he's never failed fancy.
I'm
So he's enjoying this now, Nick.
I'm enjoying this.
He's enjoying it, yeah.
Difficult team to play against, definitely. I think they've always been like that, to be fair, Vale. But I remember I had one game for Vale. I enjoyed that game as well. A good bunch of people up there.
Yeah, I forgot you did play for Vale, didn't it? Was it just once, Nick? Was there you played for?
Yeah, just the once. It was pretty much. It was when Dean Ryan was coaching. I eventually come back from my last knee injury. It took a long time, and then I just wanted to get some game time. Like at that point, like Tane and Aaron Wainwright and people were coming through, so it was kind of lost my sort of position and really in that. So I wanted some game time, and I went to play a game for Vale. I think we played RGC March time, 2020. Played one game, thought I might play another few games, and then COVID hit. So I think that was it then, really. Yeah, but I enjoyed that one game for Vale. There was sort of a good bunch of people up there, players and supporters.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So after you left the Dragons back in 2020, you played for Carmarthen Quins, and then you hung up your boots in 2022. Ending your career at your hometown club seems like a fitting way to bow out, doesn't it? Was it a difficult decision, Nick, to call time on your rugby career, or did you just think that's it now? I'm done. How difficult?
I went back. So I wasn't too sure what to do after I left Dragons and after the COVID period, whether to sort of go back and play. But I was I think I was 33 or 32. And then I was thinking, I didn't want to get to sort of 35 and think, I wish I'd gone back to have a little bit, play a little bit. So I went to Carmarthen Quins to have a season. With intention of playing more, maybe seasons. But I think as I started playing, I think I wasn't probably in the best condition, like as I had been in my previous career. So previously when I was at Dragons and before that, I think in the COVID period I'd got into sort of road running and things and lost too much weight, and I wasn't exactly the biggest guy anyway, so I got in a bit lighter than I should have, so I was finding it a bit tough. But I think I got in, played a bit there with Quins, but I think I wasn't quite the same player. Picked up, I remember, I started one game down in Arbravon, in the first kicked off, maybe the second phase, someone ran in, knocked me out, broke my nose. I think I remember after that, it's the first 30 seconds of the game, I was like, I think
I'm done now.
I don't think I need to. So,
you're going to be a target, though, aren't you? Playing at that level, having had a regional career, people are going to think, I can make a name for myself here.
I don't think it was that, to be honest. I think it was just one of those unfortunate things that happened in rugby. But it was there was a good bunch of boys at Quins and stuff. But I kind of I think I realised. I think you speak to people now and you kind of, when you know type of thing. And I realised it wasn't. It got to a point where I was working then as well. Started working with the NHS that season. It was quite an intense sort of scheme I was on. So I think that your priorities change then. I had a young family, two really young kids. So they kind of, rugby took a bit of was down the pecking order a bit, and it wasn't my main priority. And if I can't give it my all, it's probably not worth it then, is it? So that was I made that decision then. So the decision in the end wasn't too. I think I just knew I wasn't gonna do that. My time was done. I think I was happy to finish then.
I mean, that's fair enough. Do you miss it though, Nick? Now, do you miss the buzz of running out of Ronnie Parade in front of the fans? Is it part of you that still misses it, or you're quite happy now with?
The coaching gives a little bit of that, I get that. The rugby is sort of in my sort of. Done it for so long. It's kind of is in my sort of
in your blood, yeah.
whatever you call it. But sometimes I kind of think, oh, I could like join in or something.
Yeah.
Kind of realize, oh God, no, I can't. It's gone. I'm not up to it anymore. I'm sure the boys have grown even more since when I was playing. I don't know, but. No, I'm okay. I kind of finish. The coaching, I'm enjoying the coaching at the moment. That's up and down and things, but I'm enjoying doing that and trying to improve in that all the time. That's my sort of aim at the moment.
Yeah, good stuff. Who are your favourite teammates at the Dragons, Nick? You played with a lot of quality players, didn't you? And there were some characters there. Who did you enjoy sort of working with there?
A lot of boys. Well, the closest player, the guy who was still close to him now is Adam Warren. We were from the same area, and we shared lifts then as well. Like sort of throughout our time, we were there for a good few years, and even now, like he's still playing. He's playing for Kinderbury now, so I see him quite regularly there. And we have kids similar ages, so we kind of spend a lot of time together now and again. Stay close friends, but and then other guys, Lewis Evans, we both got on really well. When Toby at the time as well, when we were like a back row for the first few years. Some really good players sort of played with there, and then Ollie came through. Ollie, there was sort of so much sort of potential and unbelievable athlete and things. Although we were sort of same position, but we played a lot together, to be honest. Like Ollie was quite versatile to play at 8 things. I enjoyed playing with Ollie as well, because we'd have like a lot of similarities in the way we played, but we'd kind of complement each other. I think, like say one guy made the tackle, the other guy was over the ball, and vice versa. So kind of that way. But Lewis Evans is a great player, and then some of the sort of so many players really. Sarrell, Scrum Half Pretorius was a really good player.
I liked him. He was good.
Probably didn't see the best of Sarrell really. Like it would have been good to get more of him. Rhys Thomas, great guy. Enjoyed playing with him. Good tough guy. Yeah, to be honest, it's hard to name everybody. I had to go through. Some good blokes. Nic Croswell, really enjoyed it. He was a good bloke. Nic Croswell, New Zealander. Played back rower really, but sometimes he filled in the second row. But good player, great guy. Pat Leach, really enjoyed Pat Leach. He's a very good player. He's in like the first couple of seasons. Unfortunately, he had a bad, I think, knee injury. Eventually finished with that, but
he did. Yeah,
I think everybody thought Pat was a really good player, really good, solid player, but a great defender, and that set the channel. Those are some of the players there at the moment. But I could go on probably. Toby's probably the best player I think I've ever played with. I'd say Toby Falter. I think probably I'd say he's the best player just because I don't think he had any weaknesses. I couldn't think of anything.
No.
I couldn't think of anything he wasn't good at. Good in attack, and I think people forget he's a very good defender as well. Like very rare you'd see Toby miss a tackle or anything like that, or even they'll do something wrong in the defensive system. You mean they'll always very rarely make a mistake, Toby. Like when those years I played with him, so
I think that's a really good description. He always struck me as a really good decision maker at 8. Because you have to be able to make decisions quickly at 8, and then he always looked cool under pressure, even when the scrum was buckling.
Yeah, I think quite a few years you probably did have good practice with that with the Dragons. He's a big guy, Toby, but there are bigger 8s than Toby about. Monsters, aren't there? But the amount of times he could get through about 2 or 3 tackles just through a bit of power, but his footwork was unbelievable. He could sort of just step that last second and get away from a tackle, and then his handling ability. I think to forget that how good that was. He could. We'd use him a lot of like short line outs, put him in sort of first receiver position, and then he could hit the 10-meter pass out the back. I mean, it was at pace as well, which was fair play. That's a tough skill to do.
Absolutely, yeah, world class, isn't he, Toby? And he was very durable at the Dragons. When he moved to Bath, that's when the injuries started. I always say that when he moved to England, that's when he started having injuries. But with us, he was really injured. And peak Faletau, I think, at the Dragons, he was outstanding. Still a good player now, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Happens to the best of us, Jamie. When players move to England, they get older and slower. That's my excuse, anyway.
I was going to say that's your experience, Gav. So, Nick, reflecting on your time at the Dragons, you were there for 8 years, lots of ups, lots of downs. But what are your most memorable memories? Are there any particular games or moments that stood out to you during your 8 years?
Yeah, definitely. We did have some good times and good runs, especially in Europe. I think at the time I was there with the Challenge Cup. But there's a couple of games. One of the best ones was the quarterfinal in Gloucester. I think where we beat them, and like the last few minutes, Charlie Davis, another great guy, good player for us as well, has come off. Got that winning try. Down in Gloucester, I think it was one of those. We were the underdogs, and it was nice. It was really good to play in like a hostile atmosphere at King's Home, but and got the win. That was a great occasion. I think we beat. I think I was under. There was another season where I think I was under Lynn. We beat Leinster. I think home and away in one season.
2015, I think that was. Yeah, we did the double from 2015.
Yeah, I remember we went over to the RDS, beat them out there. It was a great win. And then we beat them then on the home tie then in Rodney Parade, and I think and then another one was I think Cardiff. And that was another quarter final of the European game in Rodney Parade. That was a great win.
You scored in that game, Nick, didn't you? You was on the bench. Yeah.
The bench came on. Yeah, I scored a try, which is didn't score loads of tries, but that was quite a nice one to score, definitely. That was a great occasion again. One or two Boxing Day derby wins as well. Some good, definitely some good memorable occasions. Even when I think we played in the semi-final against Montpellier in Montpellier, even though we lost. I think it was a great occasion, and so the team I think Montpellier had at the time, it was a great experience to play against some of those guys. Some really good, experienced, world-class players there, and just to test yourselves out against some of that opposition was a great experience. Yeah,
we did well against Montpellier. We gave a very good account of ourselves that day, I remember.
Yeah, so it was probably in honesty, it was probably the golfing class, wasn't it? But we did pretty well. I think. Can't remember the final score, but I think it was a lot closer than probably people thought it was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to remember. Did you play in that game against Newcastle when Rodney Parade was just a river and it got called off? Did you play in that?
Yeah,
that's got to be up there with your career highlights, though, isn't it, Nick? How did that game ever go ahead?
It got called off about 65, and then they said that as long as you get to the 65-minute mark, the sort of score held. Then it was okay. So the ref was just waiting to get to that point. But I remember some point during the game, and just thought that this is ridiculous. We were like running. It was running in water, really, wasn't it? It was. Just like running through puddles all the time, but I don't know. It was that was another different experience. Yeah.
Did you experience anything like that before or since that game? Because that was just wild, wasn't it?
That was weird, yeah. We went out to. I remember my first season at Dragons. We had a game against Treviso, out in Treviso, like around December time, and then the weekend after we had a game against Mogliano, I think, in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
And they're quite close to each other, so it's only like 20 minutes away. So we decided we'd stay out there for the period for like 9 days.
Yeah.
And I remember playing Mogliano then on their pitch, and like it'd been snowing or something out there. The pitch was awful. It was like, I think we won, and I'm sure like Jevon Groves.
Yeah, I remember Jevon Groves there.
Good guy as well, but he got red carded quite early on. Oh no, one of these like tough games. But no, we were all right. We managed to win fairly comfortably in the end, but that was a bit of I'm not sure what the pitch was like, but it was like playing on a crappy sort of muddy park pitch in Italy. But
because you would have played a fair few games, Nick, when you were on Ronnie Parade, when it was really bad, because you had 3 teams on it, didn't you? You had Newport County and Dragons, and they were just awful. Was there mud baths and buckets of sand? You know, I don't know if you played in our Ospreys game the 1 year. Remember, like I can remember Dan Bigger on the TV throwing the ball at the crowd, just going, and Dan Bigger going absolutely nuts for the officials. It's it must have been really difficult to play on pitches like that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we had that period. To be honest, the pitch looks great now, doesn't it? Most of the time.
Oh, of course, yeah, it does.
It's a different playing surface to those first few years I was there. But especially it was just like that winter time. It would cut up quite badly then. Because you said like there was 3 teams playing on it. They didn't have much time to rest, did it? But that was another game I remember playing. I think that was my first Boxing Day derby against Cardiff Blues. And now it was before they had the artificial, and that was like a mud bath.
At the Arms Park, I remember that one. Yeah,
I think
it was 9-7 when it was something like that.
Yeah. You couldn't get anything going. It was a bit of a joke, really. It was, I think. Yeah, that was like a sort of flashback to the old days. I think of the pitches. Like, you need to. Come a long way now, haven't they? Some of the, I know they say some of the artificial pitches aren't perfect, but they're a lot better than some of the, for example, that Cardiff Arms pitch that day, or some of the surfaces when Rodney Parade wasn't at its best. I'd take an artificial surface every time then over those.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we can't have artificial pitch of Ronnie Parade now because of the football. It's the ELFL rules into there now. But sorry, Gareth, what was you going to say?
Well, just going to say I don't know what the pitch was like where the game that Nick played up at Ebervale, but it's not always been renowned for its flat track up there at Eugene.
No. It was fine. We kind of the other week. The weather was quite decent. But I played. Except for that game, I played for him with the other few seasons. We played a couple of games there with Dragons, like I think in pre-season games. Definitely, I remember one. Anyway, playing. I think we played Northampton in the pre-season game. I think we beat them as well. But
I bet the facilities felt a bit of a step down from Rodney Parade going up there.
Yeah, I think. The change rooms are a bit small. Probably there in Iberville, but
I'm just thinking about
there are worse pitches. Definitely is worse.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that time when I don't know if he was involved, Nick, but Dragons played a Pro 12 or Pro 14 game. I think it was against Edinburgh. No, it was Edinburgh. It was
Edinburgh.
It was Edinburgh. And Richard Cockrell went absolutely bonkers about the state of Eugene Cross Park. He was slamming the facility, saying it's not fit enough. Did you play in that game, Nick? Was you involved?
I remember I was up there watching. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was, was it quite? I think it was just quite a cold day, wasn't it? If I remember.
It was freezing cold. I mean, I wasn't there, but it was a Friday night. It was freezing cold.
Was it February or March? Was it? I want to say.
It might have been. It was when Jackman was in charge anyway, and Richard Cockrell went absolutely bonkers about it. I mean, Edinburgh won.
That's a good try. I don't know, like a recollection of that, or made a good run or something.
But, just say you did. If you can't remember, just say you did.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, but no, I remember. I remember I didn't play, but I remember being up there watching. Maybe I did my knee at that point. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah.
Brilliant. Gav, anything from you before we wrap up?
No, just to say that, like, I'm kind of always a delight to watch you play, Nick, because I just think you were one of those players who, just put the team in front of their own safety sometimes is the politest way of putting it.
So.
No, absolutely. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everything that you did at the Dragons. You were one of my favourite players. I just love the fact you had zero disregard for your own body, putting your head in places you shouldn't be. This our image, and we're going to use this for the pod as well to promote it, where you're just covered in blood, your face is covered in blood. And that just sums up, how you were as a player. You gave blood for the jersey, and I just want to thank you because I thought when you was fit, you was an amazing player and you gave everything for the Dragons, and just want to thank you, really.
Thanks a lot for having me, and it's always nice to hear. But I get shown that sort of that picture quite a lot these days, the one with the blood over my face. I think that was my last game actually for Dragons. So
it's going to be on the socials this week, just so you know. So yeah, you'll be seeing it a lot more. But no, I think it perfectly sums up you as a player. You gave everything for us, and really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us.
Old-fashioned player who, like, kind of, you wore your heart on your sleeve, and I think fans always like that. I certainly did.
Yeah, we all did. Brilliant. Okay, Nick, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you go now. Take care. All the best.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Nice to
Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, Nick. Ta-ra now. There you go then, Nic Cudd. That was an enjoyable chat. What a player, though, Gav, for us.
Yes.
I mean, he really did give everything for the shirt, didn't he? Blood, sweat, tears, the whole lot.
It just struck me as a kind of that, like a throwback to an old style flanker. Now, my dad was a big fan of a 60s flanker called Di Morris, who played for Neath for Wales. And when we were watching Dragons, I can't remember his games, and Nic Cudd was just getting everywhere. And my dad said, it's like watching Di Morris watching him. Yeah, and it always sticks in my head.
Yeah, I loved him. I did. I thought he gave everything. Turnovers, like he was so good at the breakdown. And like I said, what I loved about it, when Dragons were involved in games where the game was well gone, we lost, it was virtually game over. Yeah. He still, time and again, put his body on the line, winning turnovers. He never gave up the cause. And he deserves to be, the best ever open side flanker at Dragons. I think fans got that vote right. And it's a very competitive back row, they had choice, didn't they? We beat the likes of Colin Jarvis, Ollie Griffiths, Jamie Ringer. They're all great players, but for me, he's a Dragons great, and great to have him on the pod. Hell of a player.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
Okay, Gav, let's talk about what happened on Saturday. Dragons 30, Sharks 33. So it was heartbreak, unfortunately, for the men of Gwent, as replacement Sharks hooker Fez Mabefa scored an 85th minute try to snatch a win for the visitors. Tries from Tane Basham, Chris Coleman, Roger Williams, and Ben Carter, but a losing bonus point of just 3 points means that the Dragons come away with 2 match points. So, Gav, fantastic effort from the Dragons yet again. This is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Lots of positives to take out of this game. However, let's be honest, that was a missed opportunity, wasn't it?
So I saw lots of what the fans were saying, and there's lots of positivity, and I'm going to be unusual for myself. It's a game we should have won.
Yes.
I get last year they beat us convincingly, but we should have won that game. And there's 2 points for me where we've lost that game, and it's not in that last 5 minutes because we were under intense pressure, and I think we did well to buckle but not to break, not to give away a penalty or whatever. But there's a soft try halfway through the first half where they've attacked wide and we've just not dealt with it, and we've missed a couple of tackles. And then there's an almost identical try start of the second half. They've attacked us out wide and we just haven't dealt with it.
Yeah, I think the killer moments for me were there was that try just on the stroke of half-time. Dragons were 22-5 up. I think Harry Wilson misses the tackle. There's a couple of missed tackles. And that was a killer because we go into the sheds 22-5 up. if that try is, if that try doesn't happen. I mean, 22-12, we still would have taken that score when we had half time,
Oh,
if
God,
you'd said
yeah.
before so, but it just felt a little bit frustrating that we conceded right on the stroke of half time. And then the second half, when we knew we had to start strongly because Sharks had their tails up, and then we didn't start strongly, and they came out
No.
and scored 2 tries, and then all of a sudden they're 26-22 up. But credit to the boys for fighting back. I think a Dragons team a couple of years ago, they would have just given up, heads would have dropped. But there is a lot of character in this side now, and you can see that. They're not giving up. I thought defensively we were very good again. Hell of an effort in those last, even though they did score at the end. Players were putting their bodies online and giving everything. Tane Basham playing the match on his return.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Tane was great. It's a big year for him. I thought he was terrific. I thought Shane Lewis was excellent.
Yes.
I mean, it was a toss-up between him and Tane to get play with the match. And I put on X today, I think Wales should be seriously considering a recall for him because I think he can offer a lot to Gatland right now.
Tane or to Shane Lewis-Hughes?
Shane Lewis-Hughes, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I agree with you. Now, Tane had a great game, and there was a couple of times that Tane really pulled the kind of irons out of the fire for us.
Yeah.
But for me, the Shane Lewis-Hughes was a better player in the game because what he did, he was just a shithouse and he was horrible to play against.
Yeah.
And their back row didn't know what to do with him because he has those 2 turnovers within about 5 minutes that set the tone for me.
Yeah. I thought he was terrific, Shane Lewis. There's an edge about him. That's what I really like. How Moriarty had that edge, that abrasiveness. Shane Lewis got that. And I think he could offer Wales a lot right now. He's physical, he's abrasive, he's versatile, he's hardworking. And I know the back row is a very competitive area for Wales, but I really do think Shane Lewis could offer Wales quite a lot right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's been terrific. And we said, didn't we, in pre-season, we were happy that we'd signed him. And so far, Gav, I think he's been terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. What he's brought us, and I'm using this, if Shane ever hears this and he thinks I'm criticising him, I'm not. I'm using this in the height of praise. He's a shithouse, and we've needed a shithouse for a while. And he does it so well because there was one point when they're all fronted up to him, the South African, and he's just laughing. I can't remember who it was. One of them's going really close, and he's just looked at him and laughed directly in his face. And I thought, oh, this is what I want. I want a back rower who was just getting there, famming there, and just turning it and just pushing it all the time. Oh, it was a delight.
Yeah, love it. Love to see it. I thought the locks did well. Matthew Screech and Ben Carter was solid. Brodie Coughlin, again, I'm really pleased with Brodie's development. In the absence of Elliot D, I think he's really stepping up. He'll probably be ignored by Wales because they'll have the Cardiff hookers in the squad. But I think he's been really, really good.
I don't think he's there yet, but he'll be there soon. My only issue with Brodie, there were a couple of times when we've got a line out, and you can't really blame him. It's not his fault. But the Mole didn't really do anything, and I don't think he really knew what to do. There was one moment, I remember there was one particular moment. Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, but I think his development has been fantastic. I thought Rodri Williams was brilliant as well. And, when I see Rodri play like that, I don't know about you, Gav, I just think to myself, why hasn't he had more Wales caps? Well,
I really do. I thought he was absolutely terrific.
So this is my thinking, see, about Rodri after last couple of games. If I was the Wales coach, and it's only a matter of time, but if I was a Wales coach right now, he'd be in my squad. He'd be one of my free scrum halves. Yeah. Tomos, yes, I get that. But then Kieran Hardy, possibly. But
he's injured at the moment, though, isn't he, Hardy? So
yeah, so he should be in there anyway. He's better than Kieran Hardy anyway, I think.
So where I was sat in the Bisley, you got the hospitality box just a couple of rows behind me. All the Wales management were there. Gatland was there.
I saw that. I was looking out for you to see if I could see it.
Sure. They were literally right behind me. And I'd love to know who impressed them. I'd love to have picked their brains. I wish I had hospitality that day. I didn't, sadly, but I would have loved to have picked their brains just to see who stood out for them. But no, there were some very good performances. And look, after the game, me and Dad went back to the pub, and I was really flat. I felt quite flat because, on the one hand, I really appreciate the effort, and I could see we're getting better. But it did feel like a missed opportunity as well. Like 2 points is not to be sniffed at, but it could have and should have been 5, shouldn't there? And, we've just got to be better in key moments. We had to start that second half firing, and we didn't. And once they got their noses in front, we got to stop making it hard for ourselves. We got to be clinical. We really got to put our foot on the opponent's necks when we're on top. We really got to keep going. And sometimes I feel that we let teams off the hook too much. But it's difficult for me. I'm proud of the players, proud of the effort. Like I said, it's a step in the right direction. It's a step forward. But I do feel it's a missed opportunity. I think both things can be true at the same time, isn't it? To be happy with the performance, but also think we should have won that. That was there for the taking.
I think we performed well, but we should have won that game. And I think, for me now, you can see the impact of Philo defensively around the fringes, because they were beating us up a bit at the collision, but they weren't massively getting over the gain line. We were slowing them down. We were being awkward. We were holding them on the gain line as much as we could. But where we struggled to defend was out wide.
Yeah,
I
thought that.
We defended narrow, and then we got exposed out wide, 3 or 4 times, and a couple of times led to tries.
Yeah. Any other takeaways from this game? Anything else you want to talk about? How do you think? Because, you know what Drags sports are like, and I did question some of the decisions. What did you think of the performance of the referee, Andrew Brace? Because he's coming for a lot of criticism from Drag supporters. Do you think we were hard done by? I don't know about you, Gav, but in those last 5 minutes, I didn't feel like he was going to give us anything.
Oh, no.
But we were giving away a lot of penalties as well. So it's difficult, isn't it? What do you think?
Our discipline was letting us down. The thing is, right, Brace isn't a great referee, but he's about as good as you get in the URC generally, and that's part of the problem, isn't it? The fact that he isn't great. My issue was he a couple of times he said, "Well, don't do that again, don't do that again," and they did it again. He didn't really do anything about it, and I'm not convinced it wasn't a red, their first yellow.
No. Yeah. So, is there anything else? Any other takeaways from this game, Gav? Any final thoughts before we move on?
I think 10 is a question for me still.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. There were 10 points missed off the tee. Yeah, it was pretty disappointing, wasn't it, our goal kicker? I thought our kicking out of hand in the first half, by the way, was very, very good. Angus was fantastic. Yeah. That 50-22. Rodri kicked incredibly well. But our goal kicking, from what we've seen so far, is becoming a problem. Now, I think the jury's still out on Lloyd Evans. I like Lloyd Evans, but he needs his kicking boots on now, doesn't he, going forward? Because we can't afford to keep missing points like that and missing opportunities.
It's not just the goal kicking for me. I think some of his decision making isn't where it should be as well. And I know I said that about Will Reid. I sound like a bloody broken record. But Will Reid's a 22-year-old lad straight out of the World Premiership. Lloyd Evans spent the last 5 years playing in the Premiership. You'd expect him to be a bit more hardened.
Yeah, so look, I think it's a good signing. Lloyd is with us for 1 year. I mean, if he's going to keep missing goal kicks like that, then I think they might only be a year he'd be with us. But the jury's still out. But look, let's just give him an opportunity and give him a break, really. But the goal kicking was a big disappointment for me.
If he's come back with the hope of pushing himself into the conversation for Welsh 10. He's not done that, has he?
He's not in the conversation as of yet. You've got to play well for us first before. I think the first 2 performances from Lloyd was a 6 out of 10. I think on Saturday was a 5 out of 10. Because he's still good in the in open play. But I am slightly concerned about his goal kicking.
Yeah,
and I'm afraid that was emphasised on Saturday. So great effort by the Dragons, but it does sting a little bit even now because that was one that we really should have closed out. But Can't fault the effort. We're getting better. I think any reasonable person can see that this team is getting better, can't they, Gav?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and if someone says, "Oh, they were rubbish," they're wrong, because we played all right.
Yeah.
We played all right against Leinster, and we played very well against Sharks in patches. I think we played well for 50 minutes, and you can't always say that. So the progress is clear, but we've got to start winning games.
Yeah, we're always going to be judged on results, aren't we? But, we got to get the performances right. I don't want to sound like Steve Anson about this, but, we always talked when he was Wales coach, it was always about performance, Mike. It's all about the performance, when you win winning games. And it did get on a lot of people's nerves, didn't it? He became a bit of a media joke. But when you look back, he was right. You've got to get the performances right before you start thinking about results, because good performances lead to results, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's just where we are at the moment. But a hard one to take, but like I said, 2 match points. It's not bad, is it? I suppose it's not what we wanted.
We've always said bonus points, but we've got 4 tries in the game as well.
Yeah, even when we lose, we need to pick up points, don't we? That's what we said.
Yeah. So we'd be going back on what we've already said on this pod more than once.
Absolutely.
So I think we could have won it. We didn't. We move on.
Yes, we move on. Okay, so a bit of news then, some sad news actually. A Dragon supporter died on Saturday following a medical emergency outside Rodney Parade. An official statement was released on the club's website on Sunday morning that reads the following. Dragons RFC is devastated to learn the tragic passing of a supporter following a medical emergency outside Rodney Parade prior to Saturday's fixture with the Hollywood Bet Sharks. The club has contacted the supporter's family to pass on our condolences, and we ask that they give him privacy to grieve privately. The thoughts of us all at Dragons RFC remain with the supporter's family and friends at this desperately sad time. And I just want to give our condolences from the pod to the supporters, friends, and family as well. It's awful news. Sincere condolences. Very sad. Okay, Gav, time for your Gwent Rugby Roundup. What's the latest?
So, limited program today in the top, or this weekend in the top divisions mainly. So, Super Rugby Cymru, as Nick suggested, his Llandovery side did not do as well as they might have liked to, and they've had quite a poor start now. They've lost 2 of 4, I think, losing 31-29 at home to Abervale. Newport continued their very strong start with a 29-19 win against Aberavon. And Pontypool, who've been a bit up and down, won at home at Pontypool Park, winning 32-20 against RGC. A good result, yeah. Into the Premiership, where not a good weekend for Gwent Rugby. Neath beat Cross Keys 47-22 at Neath, and Newbridge were nilled away to Pontypridd 22-0. The Championship, Brimough's tough start to the Championship continues with a 30-20 away defeat to Aberdeen. Bedwas, very convincing winners at home, 36-3 against Cambrian Welfare. A cracker of a game done in Cardiff where Rumney, not our Rumney, drew 20-all with Penaltha. And Annisd lost 50-32 at home against Glamorgan Wanderers. So,
oh dear,
a tough weekend there. Into Division 1, Ablairi Blaenau Gwent beating Dowlais 31-21. Bedlinog beating Sengenef 29-25. Cracker of a game there. A really good game up at Blaenavon. Blaenavon drawing 25-all with Newport High School All Boys. And Abergavenny losing 27-22 away to Nelson. And Pontypool United losing 16-40 at home to Monmouth. Not a great day for Pontypool United. Into Division 2, Abercarn beat Risca 19-5. Blaenau beat Ask 31-7. Caldicott beat Pill Harriers 34-27. Croeso Kiliog lost 17-24 at home to Blackwood Stars. Garndiffaith lost 15. Well, we're losing 15-25 when the game was to Cwmbran, when the game was abandoned, but the result stands. And then into Division 3, Abertwsog beat New Panteg 20-15. Caerleon beat Rumney lost 25-27 to Rumney. Newport Saracens beat Chepstow 24 points to 5 away. Fleur-de-Lis beat Nanty Glow 34 points to 3, local derby there. And tough day for Oakdale, who went to Machen and lost 59-0. And then, you wouldn't want that.
No, that's a tough one.
And then into Division 4, Bedwellty beat Llanilla 34-27. Crickhowell beat Betos 28-21. Forgeside beat Whitehead 48-22. And RTB Ebervale beat Pontefraith 29-14. Some of these results from previous weeks, so I was just catching up gaps there. If anyone says, "Oh, we've heard some of these before," I've filled up some gaps from previous weeks.
No, that's fair enough. Is that it, Gav?
It is, yeah. Nothing
Brilliant.
in Division 5 and 6 last couple of weeks.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. Before we move on then, a word from our sponsors, Riverside Sports Bar, the place for sport and great food. So with multiple HD screens showing all the latest sports action, you'll never miss a match on TNT, Sky and Premier Sports. There's a wide range of delicious food and drinks to keep you going throughout the game. From juicy burgers and crispy wings to refreshing beers and spirits, there's something for everyone. They're located next to the river in Clarence Place, Newport. Or for more information, go to www.riversidesportsbarnewport.com.
Their menu for the Six Nations. Have you seen the burger menu for the Six Nations?
Yeah, they did it last season as well. It's great. Is it the English one actually is very, very nice.
That's the one I was going to say.
Yeah.
And nothing's not improved by a fried egg.
Absolutely. Yeah, fair play. And like I said, I recommend the dirty fries. The chicken dirty fries in particular is absolutely stunning. So get down if you can and have some grub. Okay, so let's move on then. Round 4, another South African team, Emirates Lions at Rodney Parade. It's a Sunday afternoon kickoff. The game is live on Premier Sports and BBC One Wales. We're on BBC One.
Wow,
would you
fancy.
believe? I know. Right, did you watch the Lions and Edinburgh game?
I watched bits of it. I mainly watched bits of it because Scottish friends of mine who are not Edinburgh fans were finding it hilarious.
Yeah, so they lost 55-21. The halftime score was 48-0 at halftime, which is a league record. They got absolutely battered. Edinburgh Lions were cutting them open at will. It was just unbelievable. Some of the tries they scored, running through deep, going straight through players. I can't work out whether Edinburgh were that bad or the Lions were that good. Maybe it's a bit of both, and now it's a strong Edinburgh team as well. They was full of internationals, so there's no excuses from Edinburgh, but it just shows what a dangerous team the Lions are. And they're coming to Rodney Parade. Now, we don't have to play them in Johannesburg because it's very difficult there with the altitude and everything, but they're a very, very dangerous team, Gav. Okay, they might not be the strongest South African franchise, but believe me, they're really, really good. You know, they've got guys like Maxwani, Horn, Pretorius, Van der Merwe. They're all excellent players. I'm quite worried about this one. I actually think this is going to be a harder challenge than the Sharks. I think they're really going to take it to us. So defense needs to be very solid.
What's the weather forecast for the weekend?
I haven't looked that far ahead. I've got to be honest. But Sunday afternoon, we're in autumn now, aren't we? So I'm hoping it'll be... Well, what are you hoping for weather-wise then?
Well, right, and I know someone's like, "Oh, well, he clearly doesn't know what the weather's like in Johannesburg." I know it can get wet and cold in Johannesburg. I'm fully aware of that. But there's a difference between Johannesburg wet and cold and Newport on a blustery, wet Sunday afternoon.
So you wanted to piss down then, don't you?
Yeah.
And be cold horrible so they can't play their free-flowing Blantyre rugby. Well, they'll still try. They will still try.
I want the rain coming off the river horizontally.
You want a horrible day, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we play okay, don't we, in wet weather, actually? Before, we used to really struggle, but no, I think we're doing better in wet weather. Oh, by the way, the kickoff time is 2:30. I didn't mention that earlier, but it's 2:30 on a Sunday. A very unpopular scheduling slot, Sunday afternoons for a lot of Dragons fans. Now, team news so far, because we do record this very early in the week. So Angus O'Brien failed a HIA in the game. So he's going to be monitored. And we know Dye is very, very hot on this sort of thing. So there's a good chance that Angus O'Brien might not play. on Sunday. So I just wonder if you die then, do you put Lloyd Evans to 15 and bring Will Reid in at 10? I mean, I don't know if Kai Evans is available or not, but I'm just thinking about players who may or may not be available. We should have Steve Cummins back for this game, by the way. So he's been out with a broken hand, which he picked up against Harbury. So he should be back, which will add a bit more grunt and experience to the pack. Leon Brown pulled out as well, didn't he? On Saturday through illness, so he should be back. But how are you feeling, Gav, about this one? Are you as concerned about the Lions as I am, or how do you feel about
like
it?
you, I watched that Edinburgh game, and I was twitchy a bit, but I'm asking some questions, not of you, Jamie, of the
feel free
of Lions. Is the same Lions team going to come here? That's been my first question.
Well, what do you mean in terms of selection, or just them turning up to play?
Selection, first of all, because we got a Sharks light, didn't we?
I mean, they brought back Jaden Anderson, from Jordan. Jaden Anderson, his brother was playing. I mean, he came straight from the Springboks. So,
I'm wondering what we get Lions-wise. Yeah, I think they're probably likely to win, but I don't think they'll roll us over.
No.
I don't think anyone's rolling us over now.
And that's a good thing, isn't it? That's where we want to be. We want to be competitive. We want teams to come to Rodney Parade and really have to work for their win. And to be fair, we did that to the Sharks. I mean, that wasn't a shabby Sharks team, by the way. They still had a lot of very good players. And they didn't have the Springbok contingent, obviously, but they still had
good
the
players.
Jayton Jenkins, and they had very good players. Very good players in our team. I am nervous about this one. I do feel that we need to win these next two games at home, because we've talked about this, didn't we? We said we wanted 3
It's Lions and Benetton, isn't it?
Benetton, they'll be next after Lions, who have not had a good season so far, despite this squad. They'll come down here fully loaded, I'm sure, though. They'll be like playing the Italian test team when they come to Rodney Parade, no doubt about it. But I am a bit nervous about this one, because I like the Lions. I do like watching them. I think they're great to watch when they're in full flow, but I don't like it when we play them. No. I really don't like it when we play them.
I like watching them. They're a good side. It'll be nice for them to play in front of a ground that has an atmosphere as well.
Well, they don't get barely any fans there. Well, if you remember Rian Lowe, the YouTuber guy, he came on and he explained to me it's not a desirable part of Johannesburg, and there's all sorts of factors why they got no fans there. But it's a bloody tough place to go, mind. I mean, they make it a fort, considering there's no fans there, hardly any fans. They make that place a fortress.
I think this is, going back to I saw a couple of people saying, "Oh, I don't like games like this. Can't wait for the Anglo-Welsh League." Yeah, I don't care about the Anglo-Welsh League, but I think Pretoria and Johannesburg probably 2 of the hardest places to go and play.
Yeah,
Tillman's Park as well. I wouldn't want to do that, particularly on a Friday night. But yeah, you wouldn't want to be going out there and playing. Unless someone wants to pay for me to do that. If someone wants to pay for me to go and play in Pretoria, I'll happily do it. But, generally.
I mean, that is the beauty of the URC, isn't it? Like, one game you're playing in beautiful weather, altitude at Johannesburg, the next you're playing in pissing down rain in Newport. Like, it is diverse like that, isn't it? So, it's a funny old league, the URC. I still don't like the officiating, but that's a rant for another time. So,
but I don't think it's just a URC thing. I watched Premiership. I was watching. I saw highlights of the Harlequins game. Don't think the refereeing was much cop there either.
But the URC does have a refereeing problem. I mean, that has been admitted by the URC themselves. That's why they brought in that sort of referees liaison manager guy. I can't remember his name now, but it is a problem. No doubt about it. And I think that, the weak teams don't get the rub of the green. And there's been some questionable decisions this weekend. Ospreys, when they were in Munster, there's a couple of challenges going on there. But again, Mike Adamson is ref. I just think some of the referees in this league are just not very good, unfortunately.
If you see Mike Adamson's name, you know what's happening.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get, but that's the problem. We should expect better, though, Gav, shouldn't we? That's the issue. We really should expect better from these referees. They've been in the game a long time now, so let's just get proper referee, and let's get the big decisions right. TMOs as well. TMOs. Okay, so predictions. I'm going Dragons by 1. I was going to tip a Lions win, but I'm going to try and be optimistic, and I'm going for a Dragons win by 1. Because again, this is a winnable game. This is absolutely winnable game. But I'm probably more worried about this one than I was with the Sharks, to be brutally honest with you, because the Lions terrify me because of how good they are with ball in hand. What about you there?
Yeah, Lions by 6, I think.
Lions by 6. Well, a losing bonus point.
I'd take that.
Yeah. That's a positive note to end on, isn't it?
We are Dragons fans, though, Jamie. Less.
Yes, we are absolutely.
We're realistic creatures.
Yes, no one can say that we're not unrealistic or fanciful with our predictions, can they? At least.
No, we're sensible.
Absolutely, we are. I think that's it. Yeah, it's been a busy pod, isn't it? Thanks again to Nic Cudd. Gav, thank you as always. And thank you to Riverside Sports Bar for supporting us. And thank you to our listeners. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a kind review. Please, can you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts? If you listen to us from Apple, can you just, leave us a nice review and rate us 5 stars? Because it really does help the algorithm. It'll put us out there a bit more. So if you can, please, I ask you, to leave us a kind review on Apple. Subscribe from wherever you get your podcast. You don't miss an episode. We'll be back next week. But until then, take care and goodbye.
That was The Dragon's Lair in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.